A mother and her little girl went on a camping trip in the Texas desert, but they never came back. For 11 years, no one knew what really happened to them. Then one day, her son, Jackson, stumbled upon something nobody could have imagined. Hidden in the desert was a clue that finally revealed the dark truth behind their disappearance. This true story will make you rethink what survival means and how betrayal and danger can hide in the most unexpected places. Jackson always felt the search for his mom and sister had missed something. No matter how much he thought about it, he couldn't believe they were simply lost forever. To him, a piece of the puzzle was missing. Years of searching only led him in circles. Now he had one last place to check, beyond the Chinati Mountains, deep in the desert where no one had searched before. Sitting beside him in the jeep was his best friend Derek, shielding his eyes from the harsh Texas sun. Derek had stood by him through every failed search. Still, Jackson felt they were close this time. The desert stretched endlessly, filled with cracked earth and jagged rocks. The sun pressed down like a heavy weight, and the air was nothing but dust and heat. Jackson wiped sweat from his face and gripped his metal detector, eyes fixed on the ground. The low hum of the machine was nearly swallowed by the desert silence. Derek walked lazily beside him, more interested in the rugged beauty of Texas than the ground below. For him, this was about the adventure, not the search. But for Jackson, this was personal. The desert held memories of his missing mother and sister, along with the unanswered questions that had haunted him for over a decade. "You're really into this today," Derek said, kicking up dust as he drank from his bottle. "Looking for old coins? Maybe a relic?" Without looking up, Jackson said, "I'm looking for answers, not relics." Derek paused. He already knew about Jackson's search, but after so many years, the weight of it hung over both of them like a shadow. 11 years earlier, Jackson's mom, Ellen, and his little sister, Lily, vanished in the Chinati Mountains. They went camping and never came back. No bodies, no struggle, just an empty campsite and haunting questions. The police eventually gave up. Some even suggested Ellen had chosen to run away and start fresh. But Jackson didn't believe it. His mom was caring and devoted. She would never leave. And Lily was only 5. She couldn't have gone willingly. Jackson was certain of one thing. They didn't just vanish. They were taken. But by who and why? After years of silence, Jackson had restarted the search a year ago. With Derek at his side, he returned to the desert, convinced this time would be different. 11 years, Derek, Jackson said softly. 11 years since they disappeared. The police, the search teams, the interviews, all of it, and still nothing. Everyone gave up. Derek stayed quiet. He couldn't imagine Jackson's pain. Losing a mom and sister like that was beyond him. Finally, Derek spoke gently. "I know it was hard, but the cops did what they could." It wasn't their fault. Jackson froze, silent for a long time. Then he said firmly, "I don't believe they just disappeared. I know they're out here. Maybe I've been wrong all these years. But I can't let it go. They wouldn't leave us." Jackson's knuckles turned white as he gripped the detector. Derek studied him, realizing how deeply the obsession was consuming his friend. The search had strained their friendship. Sometimes Derek wondered if Jackson even remembered who he used to be, the guy who once laughed freely and made jokes. Derek tried to ease the tension. "You might be right. Something doesn't feel right about what happened. But maybe you're chasing ghosts, man. Maybe it's time to let go. I can't move on. I won't. They deserve better. We all do. His voice cracked, and Derek felt sick at the pain behind his friend's words. After a pause, Derek spoke softly. I get it. But be careful, man. You can't keep burying yourself in this. Don't lose yourself. Jackson stayed silent. The desert sun burned above, the metal detector buzzing faintly. His eyes searched the land, but his mind was far away, back to when life was normal, when his mom and little sister were still there, before the desert swallowed them whole. At last, Jackson spoke, his voice distant but firm. Let's keep going. Something's out here. I can feel it. Jackson's voice grew urgent. Derek, this is it. This is the spot they missed. Nobody's searched here. Derek raised an eyebrow, glancing over at him. You sure? This place is remote. No cell service, rough terrain. We could be stuck out here for hours. Jackson didn't look away. I know it sounds crazy, but they didn't just vanish. Something's here. We're going further in. Derek hesitated. The searches had drained them both, body and mind, but the look in Jackson's eyes told him this was the only way forward. With a heavy sigh, he nodded. All right, let's do it. The jeep growled across the cracked desert, dust rising behind it. The land stretched endlessly, dry earth, sharp mountains, scattered rocks. The air grew hotter, the sun relentless. It felt like the desert was trying to swallow them whole, just as it had swallowed others before. Hours passed, only sand, rocks, and a few bushes in sight. As the sun sank, Derek grew uneasy. We're pushing it, man. We should head back before dark. It's too dangerous out here. Jackson hardly heard him. He'd searched this desert countless times, yet something always pulled him back. Deep down, he felt it. They were close. His mom and sister hadn't just vanished. Someone was hiding something, and today he would uncover it. They pressed on. The ground grew harsher, slowing the jeep as it crawled over the rugged desert. Jackson reached the ridge and froze. A faint metallic glint peeked through the desert brush. His heart thumped. Derek, look down there. Derek squinted, uneasy. What is that? Then it hit him. An overturned truck at the bottom of the ravine. His mother's Chevy Tahoe, old, beaten but unmistakable. The faded mountain sticker still clung to its side. That's Mom's truck, Jackson whispered, his voice trembling with both hope and dread. But then Jackson noticed the angle. This wasn't an accident. It had been shoved, hidden. Derek muttered, tense. It looks like someone put it here on purpose. The find felt like victory and nightmare all at once. This wasn't fate. This was evidence of something darker, deliberate and terrifying. Jackson knelt, wiping dust from the door. His fingers touched the faded sticker, his mom's sticker. A chill shot down his spine. We should go back, call for help, Derek urged. But Jackson shook his head, his chest pounded. He couldn't walk away, not again. This wasn't bad luck. Someone hid the truck, and someone hid the truth. Jackson's head spun. Who moved it? Why? What really happened to his mom and sister? He stared at the truck, heart racing. This wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Jackson's chest thudded. It's been moved. I'm sure of it, he said, scanning the ground. This wasn't here during the search. Someone hid it. But why? Derek climbed out, boots crunching on dry earth. He studied the wreck. If it's been here for years, why leave it now? I don't know, Jackson muttered, eyes locked on the truck. But I'm not leaving without answers. He walked toward it, every step heavy. The silence was crushing. The find felt like victory and dread at once. This wasn't just a lost truck, it was evidence, something darker, far worse. Jackson crouched, wiping dust away. His hand grazed the faded sticker, his mum's sticker. She had loved it. Now it marked the place they vanished. "Where are they?" Jackson whispered. Derek scanned the desert. "This is insane. We need to call the police." "No," Jackson cut him off, his voice firm. "We check first. We need to know what happened." The truth slammed into Jackson. For 11 years he had prayed his family was just lost, but this wasn't bad luck. Someone hid the truck. Someone hid the truth. They hadn't vanished. They were taken. Jackson's mind raced. He yanked the door, stiff but still intact. Inside was empty. No mom, no sister, no belongings, just a hollow truck frozen in time. Derek stood back, uneasy. "We need to leave, man. This is too much. We need help." But Jackson wasn't listening. His heart pounded. He couldn't walk away. Not again. This was the break he'd waited for. Jackson turned to Derek. "Help me search. We're missing something." The desert wind howled as dust swirled. But for Jackson, it wasn't just the truck anymore. It was about the truth. His mom, his sister. He was closer than ever, and he wouldn't stop. Jackson's heart raced. Down in the ravine lay the truck, flipped and half buried in brush. The faded mountain sticker jolted him. It was his mother's. No doubt Derek wiped sweat from his face. "Jackson, are you sure?" His voice shook. How could this truck sit here for over a decade? And why now? His eyes stayed locked on the truck. "Not yet, Derek. No police. This is our lead." His hands shook, not from heat, but from truth. His mother's disappearance, sleepless nights, years of questions, answers might finally be close. Derek shifted nervously. "Jackson, you're putting too much on this. What if you're wrong? What if this leads us somewhere we can't handle?" Jackson's head spun. Who moved it? Why? Derek walked back towards civilization. Each step felt heavier. The sun dipped low, heat still clinging to their skin, a reminder of what they had just found. The truck was both a shock and a twisted relief. But now that they'd found it, the truth began to sink in. The moment Jackson got signal, he called Detective Laura Hall. His hands shook as he spoke. "Detective, it's Jackson." "We found the truck." Her voice came through, sharp but tired. The years had weighed on her too. "Where?" she asked, already flipping through old files. "A ravine near the Chinati Mountains. It's her truck. The mountain sticker's still there, but something's off. It's been here too long," he said. Silence. Then her voice turned urgent. "Don't move. Don't touch anything. We're coming." Minutes dragged like hours. Finally, dust clouds appeared. The detectives had arrived. They swarmed the truck. Jackson felt out of place. But this was it. The answers he'd hunted for over a decade. Hall's eyes stayed on the truck. "Jackson, this truck wasn't here back then." Jackson's stomach dropped. "So, someone put it here later?" "Yes, someone moved it. Hid it after the search dust swirled. The truck wasn't abandoned, it was hidden. But why, and by who?" Jackson's thoughts spun. Were they still alive, or taken long ago? "Detective, why hide the truck? Accident, or something darker?" Hall's face hardened. "I don't know. But this is bigger. Maybe your family wasn't the only target." Then a shout. "Detective! Over here!" A dusty case was pulled from under the seat, his mother's drone case. Jackson froze. Memories of his mom flying it filled his mind. Inside was a damaged SD card. "This could have video," Hall said. The laptop lit up. Family videos played, his mom, Lily, the campsite. But then the footage shifted. The drone showed land far past their campsite, restricted land, off limits. Then the screen cut black. Someone had moved the truck. Someone was behind this. Now Jackson had proof. They hadn't just vanished. They were taken. His decade-long search had led here. But the truth felt even darker than he imagined. Hall dug deeper. Whispers of a desert smuggling ring. Ruthless, hidden in abandoned outposts. They'd kill anyone who got in the way. Jackson's chest tightened. His mom, careful and curious, must have seen something she wasn't meant to. That mistake had cost her, and Lily, everything. Jackson sat in his truck, eyes fixed on the endless desert. He always believed his mother and sister were out there somewhere. But now, as clues began to fit together, fear hit him hard. This wasn't just about finding them, it was about justice, maybe even revenge. Detective Laura had finally found the smugglers' hideout, a compound buried deep in the desert. She wanted to raid it with her team, but Jackson couldn't wait. He slipped away first. He had to see for himself. He had to face whoever destroyed his family. The compound sat alone, guarded by desert and a single dirt road. As Jackson drove closer, his pulse raced. The wind howled, lifting dust around the gates. His was the only truck in sight. He stopped, heart pounding. He knew there was no going back. Jackson climbed out, boots crunching against gravel. He didn't know how many were inside, or what danger waited, but then again he couldn't sit back anymore. His mother and sister's disappearance had to mean something. He wouldn't leave without answers. His hand tightened on the gun at his side. Heavy, unwanted. But then, he reminded himself, he wasn't walking in defenseless. Like it or not, he had no choice. Jackson neared the gate when a figure stepped from the shadows. A man in a worn jacket, face cold, eyes sharp. He didn't just see Jackson, he recognized him. He had been waiting. "Took you long enough," the man said, like he knew this day was coming. Jackson's chest tightened. For years he dreamed of this confrontation, but now it was raw, real, and far worse than he imagined. The smirk dropped. Then the man's grin twisted darker as he stepped closer. "You don't remember me, do you?" His voice was low, mocking. Jackson stiffened. "Should I?" Jackson asked. The man chuckled, circling him like prey. "Your face was on the news for years, Carter. That's how I knew. You wouldn't stop digging." Jackson froze. The man went on. Ellen had asked questions she shouldn't. Lily got tangled in it too. "Wrong place, wrong time," he said coldly. Jackson's voice cracked. "Where are they? What did you do?" The man smirked. "Dead? Number." They were worth too much for that. Jackson's gut knotted. The man's words cut deep. They weren't killed. They were taken, used, turned into tools of the operation. His mother shattered. His sister raised in the darkness. Alive, but destroyed. "Stop lying," Jackson whispered. But then the man leaned in. "It's true. They're alive, but not the family you knew. They're broken now." Jackson's fists clenched. "Where are they?" he demanded. The man sneered. "Here, in this compound. But once someone belongs to us, they never leave." Jackson's eyes hardened. "They're mine. My family. And I'm taking them back." The man laughed, cold and sharp. "You think you'll stop us?" Jackson ignored his taunts and pushed toward the gates. Fear was gone. This wasn't just survival anymore. It was redemption. He would bring his mother and sister home, or die trying. As Jackson neared the compound, dread hit him. This was it, the moment that would change everything. But then, Shadows moved. The men who stole his family were on him in seconds. They hit fast, merciless, fists pounded from every side, knocking the air from his lungs. Blood hit the dirt. Each blow was worse than the last. Jackson tried to think of his mother, his sister, to keep going, but the pain crushed him. He collapsed, surrounded, unable to rise. Just as he thought he couldn't take it any longer, the sound of sirens echoed through the compound. In a blur of flashing lights and shouting voices, the police raided the compound. Detective Laura Hall and her team stormed in, weapons drawn, sweeping through the building like a force of nature. The criminals tried to flee, but they were quickly apprehended, their operations collapsing around them. Jackson's body shook with exhaustion and pain, but he couldn't help but feel a flicker of relief. They were finally going to be stopped. His family could finally be free. While the police secured the compound, Jackson was hauled to an ambulance. He was bloodied, barely holding on, but he forced his eyes open. He had to see, and then, through the chaos, they brought them out. His mother and sister. His heart stopped. His mother, Ellen, was a ghost of the woman she once was. Hollow eyes, pale skin, years of torment etched into her face. Lily, his sister, barely stood at all, her face empty, drained of everything that once made her her. Jackson's legs buckled, but he forced himself forward. The air felt too heavy to breathe. His sister, alive. His mother still here, broken, shattered, but alive. The sight crushed him, tears burning his eyes. Jackson stumbled into their arms despite the pain. "Mom, Lily, I'm here." "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." At first Lily only stared, frozen, doubtful, but then something in her eyes shifted. Recognition. Slowly she reached out. Jackson pulled her close, never letting go. Ellen stood frozen, her face carved by trauma, but then she saw him. A flicker lit her eyes. Her hand trembled as she reached for him. She wasn't the woman she once was, but she was his mother. When they embraced, years of pain and heartbreak spilled out in a single moment. The emotional reunion was a whirlwind of tears, heartbreak, and the overwhelming relief of knowing that they were finally free from the criminals who had held them captive. But the joy of the reunion was tempered with the harsh reality of what they had endured. Jackson's mother, Ellen, was physically battered and emotionally shattered. His sister Lily had been broken, forced into a world she never should have been a part of. They had both been trafficked, used, manipulated, and twisted by those who sought to exploit them for their own gain. They had survived, but they would never be the same. But this wasn't the end. It was the start of something fragile and new. Once the compound was cleared, they were taken to safety. The scars would never fade, but Jackson swore he'd help them rebuild. The road ahead was long. Healing, trust, and peace would take time, but at least they were together. In the months after, Jackson watched his family slowly reclaim pieces of life. Some days were agony, memories too heavy to bear. But then came moments of laughter, of fragile hope. Therapy helped, support helped, but most of all, love helped. Jackson had fought for them for over a decade, never giving up. And now, at last, they were back. Changed, bruised, broken in ways words couldn't capture. But they were home, and that in itself was victory.